Have you ever found yourself awake in the middle of the night, checking the clock to see it's around 4 a.m., and wondering why this keeps happening? You're not alone. Many older adults experience this exact situation and end up lying there in the quiet dark, asking questions like, "What's going on with my body?" or "Why can't I fall back asleep?" It's actually more common than you might think, and it doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong with you. Instead, it can be a natural part of aging, shaped by changes in your body, your lifestyle, and even your emotions. Most of us think of sleep as a simple process. You're tired, you go to bed, you sleep for a solid stretch, and then you wake up in the morning. But there's a lot happening underneath the surface, especially as the years go by. Your hormones shift, your daily routines evolve, and your emotional landscape takes on new depth. All these subtle changes can come together and make 4 a.m. a kind of magic hour, when your sleep often gets interrupted. One important factor is the natural decline in melatonin, a hormone responsible for managing your sleep-wake cycle. As a younger adult, you might have enjoyed a steady, strong production of melatonin that kept you soundly asleep for longer stretches. But as you age, your body doesn't produce as much melatonin, making it easier for you to slip from deeper sleep into a lighter, more easily disrupted state. This decline typically becomes noticeable in the wee hours of the morning, right around 3 o'clock or 4 a.m., when you suddenly find yourself awake. On top of that, your environment can interfere with what little melatonin you still have. Even small lights, like the glow from a street lamp sneaking through the curtains or the faint blink of a clock on your nightstand, can send signals to your brain that it's time to wake up. When you're older, your body may become more sensitive to these cues. Some people install blackout curtains, turn off electronic devices before bed, and do whatever they can to keep the room as dark as possible. These small steps can help boost your body's natural sleep hormones a bit longer and may keep you from waking up so early. This was the case for Harold, who's 72. He noticed that a simple adjustment, such as moving his alarm clock so its tiny display didn't shine in his eyes, made a surprisingly big difference in whether he woke up at 4:15 a.m. or slept until a more reasonable hour. Another reason many older adults find themselves wide awake in the middle of the night is because of a shifted sleep schedule, commonly known as an advanced sleep phase. Maybe you've noticed you're getting sleepy earlier in the evening, or you tend to wake up naturally at the crack of dawn. This isn't just in your imagination. It's a natural shift that happens with age, and it can happen quite slowly, making it hard to notice until you start catching yourself waking up when it's still dark outside. When you were younger, you might have gone to bed at 11 p.m. and woken up around 7 a.m. But as you get older, you might start feeling ready for bed at, say, 9 p.m. or even earlier. Because of that, your body has already cycled through enough sleep by the time 3 o'clock or 4 a.m. rolls around. This doesn't necessarily mean you aren't getting enough total hours of rest. It just means your sleep window has moved. For Charles, a 68-year-old retiree, this was a big realization. He would doze off in his armchair while watching late-night TV, then formally go to bed around 9 p.m., only to wake up at 4 a.m. feeling oddly alert. Once he understood this was just his body's new schedule, he adjusted his bedtime routine slightly, staying up just half an hour later, and found it shifted his wake-up time closer to 5 o'clock or 6 a.m. That small difference helped him feel more rested and less frustrated. Physical discomfort and certain health issues can also play a big role in those early morning wake-ups. By the time you reach your 60s, 70s, or 80s, you might be dealing with arthritis, back pain, or other chronic conditions that can make it hard to stay asleep for long stretches. Sometimes it's so subtle that you don't fully realize pain is what's waking you up. It might just be a mild ache in your hip or a dull pressure in your joints that seems more noticeable at 4 a.m., when everything else is still. Then there are conditions like acid reflux, which might not bother you much during the day, but can flare up at night when you're lying down. And if you eat dinner too close to bedtime, that discomfort can be enough to jolt you awake. Even something as common as needing to use the bathroom more often can disturb your sleep. As the bladder becomes less elastic, or if you're on medications that increase urination, you might have to get up once or twice a night. By the time you walk to the bathroom and back, your body could shift into a lighter sleep mode, making it harder to drift back off. Elena, a 76-year-old woman, discovered that one of her prescriptions was causing her to wake up for bathroom trips. Once she spoke with her doctor and adjusted the timing of her dose, her sleep improved almost immediately. You might also be surprised by how much your daily habits affect your sleep. Small changes add up over time, like eating earlier in the evening, taking a nap in the afternoon, or not being as active as you once were. Without the routine of a work schedule, it's easy to slide into a pattern where you have dinner at 5 p.m., watch TV for a bit, fall asleep in your recliner, and then head to bed by 9 o'clock. All of that can inch your internal clock forward. Then, after 6 hours of rest, you might naturally wake up around 4 a.m. This might not sound too bad if you're still getting a total of 7 or 8 hours of sleep, just on a shifted schedule, but it can be frustrating if it doesn't match your lifestyle or if it leaves you with a few wide-awake hours in the dead of night. Caffeine can also linger in your body longer than it used to, so that midday cup of coffee could still be affecting you when you try to sleep later on. And if you tend to go to bed on an empty stomach, your blood sugar levels can drop overnight, giving your body another reason to rouse you from deep rest. Walter, who's 74, experienced this after he retired. He started eating dinner at 5 p.m. and winding down for the evening. By 8:30 or 9 o'clock, he felt drowsy, went to bed, and then found himself waking up well before dawn. It took some experimenting, such as shifting his dinner a bit later, avoiding any naps too close to bedtime, and taking a short walk after dinner to nudge his sleep schedule to a time that felt more natural for him. Beyond the physical and routine factors, there's also an emotional side to these 4 a.m. awakenings. Many older adults find that in the stillness of the night, their mind starts to wander. Maybe it's thinking about the past, replaying old memories, or reflecting on big changes in life, losses, regrets, or even joys. When you're young and busy, you don't always have the quiet space to process these thoughts. But later in life, it's not uncommon to have your mind drift back to certain moments, especially when there are fewer distractions. Some people describe this as a soft hum of worry or longing that only seems to get loud when everything else is silent. It's not necessarily acute anxiety, but more a sense that something is on your mind, something you haven't fully dealt with yet. Nighttime can also magnify feelings of loneliness if your social circle has shrunk or if you've lost a spouse or close friends. For Gloria, an 80-year-old widow, the nights felt particularly long and silent. She would wake up around 4 a.m., her mind turning to memories of her late husband or the changes in her life since he passed. She discovered that writing in a small journal helped calm her thoughts. Even jotting down a few sentences about what she was remembering seemed to lift the weight off her mind. After that, it was easier for her to drift back to sleep. Emotional restlessness at night can actually be an invitation. Instead of seeing those early wake-ups as an annoyance, some find that it helps to think of them as a message. Hey, there's something you need to pay attention to here. It might be an unresolved conflict, a feeling of longing for connection, or simply your mind's way of processing the decades of experiences you've lived through. By giving these thoughts some gentle attention, through writing, meditation, talking to a friend, or any other reflective practice, you can often ease the restlessness and settle back into a peaceful sleep. All these different elements, hormonal changes, shifts in your internal clock, physical discomfort, lifestyle habits, and emotional restlessness, can merge to create that 4 a.m. wake-up call that leaves you feeling wide awake in the middle of the night. But the good news is that you can address each of these in small but meaningful ways. Sometimes just understanding why it's happening can bring a sense of relief. You're not doing anything wrong, and your body isn't necessarily failing. In fact, your body is giving you feedback about what it needs. One approach is to experiment with small changes in your evening routine. For instance, you could try dimming the lights in your home a bit earlier to help your body produce more melatonin, where you could make sure all screens are off at least an hour before bedtime. Even a short walk in the early evening can help reset your internal clock, reinforcing the natural cycle of day and night. If you're waking up because of physical discomfort, consider talking to a healthcare provider about pain management, adjusting your pillows or mattress, or trying gentle stretches before bed. If it's a bladder issue, you might look into the timing of any diuretic medications or try limiting fluids a couple of hours before bedtime, while still staying safely hydrated, of course. Dealing with acid reflux? Maybe give yourself some extra time between dinner and lying down, or elevate your upper body with pillows. If you notice that loneliness is part of the picture, or if your mind is weighed down by thoughts that only arise at night, finding ways to connect during the day, whether through phone calls, video chats, or in-person visits, can make a big difference. And if you do wake up and feel your mind churning, it might help to keep a notebook by your bed. Sometimes just writing a few sentences can feel like you've acknowledged those thoughts, allowing you to slip back into sleep. The bottom line is that waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't have to be a frightening or frustrating mystery. It could be a chance to understand your body's rhythms in a deeper way. By looking at how your lifestyle, environment, and emotional well-being intersect, you can often discover patterns and make small adjustments that lead to big improvements. Rather than seeing these awakenings as an unwelcome interruption, you might start to see them as a gentle reminder that your body and mind are in constant communication with you. You've lived a full life, and your body's changed in ways you might never have imagined when you were younger. Your sleep patterns are one more reflection of that evolution. So if you find yourself awake in those quiet hours, take heart in knowing that this is a shared experience among many older adults. The reasons behind it are as diverse and layered as our own personal stories. Hormones slowing down, circadian rhythms shifting, aches and pains speaking up, daily habits shaping our nights, and the deeper emotional currents we carry. A kind way forward might be to treat yourself with compassion and a sense of curiosity. Ask yourself what your body needs. Would adjusting the temperature in your bedroom help? Would it help to have a glass of water on a nightstand or to limit caffeine after noon? Do you need a softer mattress topper for aching joints? Or is it time to speak with a healthcare professional about a medication side effect? And if there are heavier emotions or lingering thoughts keeping you up, consider whether they might need a safe outlet, like journaling, talking with a loved one, or joining a support group. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but there are many small steps you can take. Once you begin to see these early wake-ups as meaningful signals rather than stubborn interruptions, you can respond in ways that truly support your overall health and happiness. Over time, these thoughtful adjustments can help you feel more at ease about your sleep schedule. You may still wake up earlier than you did decades ago, but you might also find that you don't mind it as much if you feel rested, pain-free, and at peace. It can also help to let go of the blame game, telling yourself you should be able to sleep until 7 a.m. the way you did in your 30s. Bodies change, and that's okay. Try to embrace the natural rhythms of your life as best you can. If you're waking up at 4 a.m. and you feel content or energized, maybe that time in the still morning hours can be a moment of calm reflection. Some people find it's a chance to read, do a quiet hobby, or simply enjoy the peace before the day begins. Others find they can gently guide their bodies to sleep a bit longer by making small changes in timing and environment. Either way, it starts with understanding and acceptance. You might be surprised how this shift in perspective can bring about a genuine sense of relief. Instead of dreading the middle of the night wake up, you might begin to see it as a moment of personal insight, a reminder of your resilience, or a cue to nurture yourself in new ways. Even if you can't fully eliminate those early awakenings, you can respond to them more gracefully. With the right mindset and a few practical strategies, you'll discover it's possible to maintain a healthy relationship with sleep, one that honors both the wisdom of your years and your ongoing need for rest and renewal. So the next time you glance at the clock and see it's 4 a.m., pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Notice how you're feeling, body, mind, and heart. Ask yourself if there's something simple you can do to support your comfort or soothe your thoughts. Let go of any harsh judgment about how you should be sleeping. You're living in a new stage of life, and with awareness and small, steady adjustments, you can find a rhythm that works for you. Sleep is a personal journey, and it evolves just like we do. Understanding why your body might be nudging you awake in those early hours can turn frustration into empowerment. Whether it's the gentle drop in melatonin, the nudge of an aging bladder, the shift in your daily routine, or an emotion that wants a little space, each reason is an invitation to listen. And by listening, you can create a kinder, more comfortable approach to nighttime, one that helps you wake up, whenever that may be, feeling a little more refreshed and at peace.